Hi guys, welcome to Coturnix Corner. So I just got some hatching eggs in this morning and I was getting ready to set them in the incubator, and I thought I'd take a minute to share with you my experience with the CT series of incubators from Hatching Time. I've had this box going now for just about 4 years, and I just kind of wanted to let you guys know what I like about the incubator, what I don't like about the incubator, and how it's been performing for me for the past 4 years. This is the CT60, which is in the CT series of incubators. They've got the CT60, the CT120, and the CT180. The incubator has actually performed almost flawlessly from day one since I've got it. Hatching Time has a unique humidity system on it, which holds the humidity very well at whatever level you set. We're going to talk a little bit about more about that in a minute. And also on the heating system, it's very uniform throughout the box. And the reason for that is on the back of the incubator, which is where the fan is mounted, it draws the air from across the eggs in through the fan, across the heating element, and then is dispersed. It's got a little deflection unit on the bottom that deflects air down and also deflects air up. So it's kind of almost like a vortex motion from top to bottom, which keeps the humidity and the temperature pretty uniform throughout the entire box. I've been really happy with it. I do use the CT60 as an incubator only now. Down here you can see I've got my DIY box. I use that as a hatcher. I've also got an HB350, which is a large hatcher that Hatching Time sent me, and that works really well for like separating different color varieties and whatnot. For now, I'm not doing a whole lot of hatching, so I really don't need that big of a hatcher, but the DIY box down here does really well for me. So let's talk about a few things that I'm not really concerned with, but things that I kind of nitpick on this incubator. First off, on the hinges, you've got a bolt going down through the top of the hinge. The hinge itself is plastic, but there's a bolt going down through the top, and that has rusted up on me. Being in Florida, we have very high humidity levels, and that's probably the cause of that. It's no big deal. The hinges still work just fine, but I did notice on the top of those bolts that it was rusting. The only other real thing that I can pick out about the incubator is the viewing window. It is a little bit small. It's like a 4-inch viewing window, and looking through it almost gives a little bit of a fisheye effect when we're trying to look through it. But like I say, I use this as an incubator only, so I really don't need to view the eggs. They go down into my other box for hatching out. So talk about the humidity system a little bit. The humidity system, they call it the Humisonic. It's pretty unique in the way that it works. It has a vaporizer. There are 2 water reservoirs. The one that sits on top of the cabinet, and that feeds down to a smaller reservoir on the side of the cabinet, which has a vaporizer in it. It's also got a float in it, which only allows so much water to be able to drain down into this. But the neat thing about it is when the Humisonic senses that the humidity is getting low, it will engage. It sends power down to this vaporizer, and that vaporizer vaporizes the water into basically a steam. And the steam is drawn up through the side of the cabinet through a hole. Let's see if I can get that off of there. Drawn up through the side of the cabinet here, and it goes into a cone which disperses the vapors right in front of the fan. So the fan is basically causing a vacuum here, drawing the vapors into the cabinet, and then it goes right into the fan and is dispersed again like that vortex I was telling you about earlier. Okay, one other thing real quick, guys, about the humidity system. I've had people tell me that they don't have to use the water tray, that they can get by just fine with the Humisonic vaporizer, and it keeps their humidity where they set it. That's true, it will, but that's not its intended purpose. What you want to do is you want to use the water tray to bring the humidity up to a certain level, and then let the Humisonic or the vaporizer tweak it and get it exactly to where you want it. There's 2 reasons behind this. One, by using the water tray, it takes a lot of load off of the vaporizer. The vaporizer doesn't have to constantly kick on and off and on and off. You get the water tray in there, it brings it up to say you've got your humidity set at 65%. And the humidity will come up to about 50% using the water tray, depending on where you're at. The Humisonic will then kick in and bring it up to the 65 that you set at. And because you've got water in the box, it's actually holding that humidity level to that point longer than it would be had you not had a reservoir of water inside the incubator. So use the trays, guys. You might have to tweak your amount of water that you put in the tray, whether you fill up one reservoir, two reservoirs, or all four reservoirs, depending on your location and your relative humidity and whatnot. So yeah, I'm not saying that it won't work using just the vaporizer. It will, but you're going to put more wear and tear on that vaporizer, and you'll end up having to replace this little vaporizer unit should it go out. So just a quick tip. Let me get over on this side. The regulator it seems pretty basic when you first start looking at it. It basically has a temperature and a humidity control, but there is an advanced feature set a little bit deeper in the regulator. I'm not going to go into that, but there are some settings that you can change in there to kind of tweak the regulator and how it operates. I have it set up to where, because my humidity changes all the time here in Florida, I mean, during the day it'll be like 95%, and then in the evening it might drop down to about 40%. So what I had to do is I went into some of the advanced features and played with them a little bit to get it to where the alarm is not going to kick on just because the humidity dropped a little bit lower than what I had it set at. But like I say, those are some advanced features, and I wouldn't be messing with those unless you really know what you're doing or have a specific humidity or temperature set in mind. The other two settings, which are the basic settings, is your humidity control. You just press either the H or the T, and that'll take you into temperature or humidity to change those to the value that you want. I haven't had any problems with the regulator. It's actually been very, very well. I've tested it out against several of the ThermPro thermometers / hygrometers, and it's right on the money. It's amazing how close that thing keeps it to what you've got it set at. The hatching trays, or the turners that come with the incubator, I haven't had a single problem with them. They have I'm not sure if that's a 5 or 12 volt line going into the Turner motor, but the motors don't seem to get as hot as some of the other Turners that I've used, like the little giant Turners. That motor the temperature seems to come up a little bit higher on it. The quail rail inserts, I got some of those with it. I don't believe it came with the quail rail inserts. I believe that it comes with just this tray, and you kind of stand the eggs up in that tray. I used to line it with a paper towel, and then I'd stand the eggs up. But then I got these Turner rails. The yellow ones here are from Hatching Time. They're a little bit small, especially if you're going to use or going to be incubating the jumbo varieties. So what I did was, one of the guys in the group has an Etsy store, and he makes up these jumbo size hatching rail inserts, and they fit the jumbo variety of eggs, 14, 15, 16 gram eggs, no problem. So that was the one thing that I changed as far as the Turners go. But like I say, the motors, so far, knock on wood, have been very dependable. I haven't had one fail on me yet. I have had a little giant motor fail on me and had to replace that, but they call it Coturnix, and they seem to be a pretty decent motor. Like I said, they don't seem to get as warm as the ones on my little giant Turners, and that may be the reason that they're lasting a lot longer, is because they don't get as hot, so there's not as much wear and tear on the motor itself. Let's see, The other nice thing about the hatching time incubator is you have a door on the front and a door on the back. Makes cleaning a breeze to where you can open both of them up. Not only does it make easier to clean, but with both doors open, it dries out really quick. So that's a nice feature. It came with some hatching trays. What did I do with them? Oh, they're down here. I actually still use these hatching trays because they fit inside my DIY box. The only thing I really did to these things, I lined them with a drawer liner material. Like this, just pick that up at Walmart. It's pretty cheap, like $5 a roll. And the only other thing I did to the hatching trays was these little pegs. Every time I would open it up or tear it apart to clean it, I'd end up, popping one of these out and lose them. So what I did was I took the pegs and I super glued them into one half of the tray. And that keeps me from losing them. Then obviously the other half just, slides on top of that. So that works really well. And like I say, they fit into my DIY box. So I use those for hatching out. Unless I got a really big hatch, then I use a little bit bigger box that I built. It's a DIY box for that incubator down there. Let's see what else. The incubator does have an interior light that just by pressing and holding the lower right button, I don't know if you can see, but it turns that light on, which is nice. I mean, it's plenty bright enough to be able to see in there. The seals on it are excellent. I haven't had any issues with the seals, peeling off the door and wanting to come loose. They still seal really nice. The rails that you slide your egg turners on or your hatching boxes on, they're still in great shape. They're, like an ABS plastic. So I don't think they're really going anywhere. The latching system on the door hardware works great. Haven't had no problems with that. Like I say, the biggest thing and the biggest plus with the hatching time incubators, when I first reviewed them, I don't know, three and a half years ago, I said it was like a set it and forget it type of an incubator, and they really are. I mean, once you get them dialed in to where you want the temperature and the humidity, mark your calendars when you set your eggs, and you really don't even have to check on them until the day that you're ready to go into lockdown. That's how much faith I have in the ability to hold temperature and the humidity at where I want it. Trying to think what else is on here that I like. We mentioned that they're real easy to clean. I want to say that when I first got the hatching time incubator, I didn't know if it would be comparable to a commercial incubator, like say a GQF. But after using it for almost 4 years now, and I'm talking running around the clock, back when I had most of my birds in here, I was setting 100 to 250 eggs a week, and just keeping them going around the clock, and it worked really well. I've never had it fail, even as it was running. It probably ran 2 to 2.5 years, almost nonstop, and haven't had any issues with it. I'm trying to think of anything that would be of a concern. If you're looking for an incubator, I would say that this series of incubators compares very closely to any commercial model out there. I know people talk about the GQF being a really good incubator. These hatching time series, the HB and the CT series, are amazing. I mean, they do really well. It would be nice if the egg turners were a little bit deeper to where they could hold, say another, let's see, what do we get on? I'm not sure exactly what you get on each one of these, but if it was a little bit deeper, you'd probably get, another 30, 40 quail eggs in there. A lot of people I know use this incubator for incubating, chicken eggs, duck eggs, obviously quail eggs. The one nice thing that it's got on it, and I haven't used it yet, but I know some people that have, in the regulator, you have the ability to set a temperature change. Like say for the first 14 days you're incubating, and then you go into lockdown and you want the incubator to change temperature, or every so often drop the temperature lower. I think they call it their passive heating and cooling, I believe it is, and that's supposed to simulate what would happen in a natural nest scenario, to where, like, if a chicken's hatching her own eggs or a duck or whatever, they get off the nest and the eggs cool down a little bit, and then when she comes back on, they come back and warm up a little bit more. So that's another feature. I haven't tried it because I really don't need to use it for quail, but that is a feature that's there for those of you who, you know, might want to incubate ducks or chickens or geese or whatever, you know, that would require something like that. Am I happy with it? Extremely. I mean, it's my go-to box for incubating. And the reason I use this only for incubating and not for lockdown, I have used it for lockdown before, but I prefer to keep this incubator as clean as possible. So I pretty much only use it for incubating eggs. And like I say, when I go into lockdown, I can drop them down into one of my DIY boxes, and that works out perfect as a hatcher. So guys, if you're thinking about, you know, investing the money into either a CT series or an HB series of incubators / hatchers from Hatching Time, I can wholeheartedly say it's a worthwhile investment. You're not going to lose your money. You'll actually probably come out a little bit further ahead. You know, if you're using, you know, say a cheap incubator, I'm not going to mention any brand names, but if you're using a cheap incubator and say on an average you're getting a 50-60% hatch rate, it could be due to your incubator. So if you were to, you know, spend a little extra money and get you, you know, even the smallest of the CT series, your hatch rates are going to improve. You're just going to have, you know, overall better results when you're hatching eggs. So anyhow, off my soapbox on that. Guys, like I say, if you're interested in the Hatching Time series of incubators, check them out over at hatchingtime.com. They've got a big long list of incubators, you know, to fit whatever needs you might have. Like I said earlier, I'm extremely happy with mine. I haven't had any failures with this box in almost 4 years of incubating quail eggs. So yeah, I think that's about it. If I think of anything else, I'll throw it down in the description down below. But like I say, I'm very happy with the cabinet incubator, and I think you would be too if you ended up purchasing one. So guys, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. You'll get a notification if you hit that bell of any new videos that come out, and it kind of helps me out a little bit. Kind of helps the Google or the YouTube algorithms. So I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching today, and we'll see you on the next one.